Hello there, Star Wars fans. Oh boy, a Star Wars movie delayed? That's nothing new, right? However, this time it's not just any movie. It's the potential infamous return of Rey Skywalker, a character that has sparked a lot of debate since her first appearance in Episode 7, The Force Awakens. While the sequel trilogy was not well received, Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm are moving forward with continuing that story for one of franchise's future films.
And what does that make ketchup?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But the film's future hangs in the world between worlds. With last year's writer's strike and relentless studio oversight, there have been several rewrites of the script and different writers assigned to the project over the last few years. With production being delayed yet again, fans wonder if we'll ever see the Jedi Order rise again on the big screen. Will it happen in 2026? Or are we looking at another massive delay? Or are these the classic Lucasfilm signs that it's stuck on the shelf indefinitely? Let's dive into everything we know about the challenges, the potential release, and why this film could usher Star Wars down a path I cannot follow. But before we begin, please give the video a like and subscribe so you never miss what's happening in your favorite galaxy far, far away. First, let's rewind a little. At Star Wars Celebration 2023, Lucasfilm dropped a bombshell: Return of Rey Skywalker, the main character from the sequel trilogy. This was not another related movie or part of a side series. It was to become the foundation of a whole new era of Star Wars on the big screen, with the story being apparently set 15 years after Episode 9. It's said to cover Rey's efforts in reconstructing the Jedi Order after the collapse of the First Order. A lot of people, including myself, weren't interested in this concept once it was announced. Due to the discourse and fan reception of the sequel trilogy, this news was met with caution and hesitation from the majority of the Star Wars fan base. When Daisy Ridley was finally confirmed to be back in the movie as Rey, there was a lot of buzz. But to no surprise, since then, Lucasfilm is having major issues with getting this movie to come together, and things behind the scenes might give us an idea what's coming next. And just to give a little bit more background on the writer's strike, in 2023, the movie industry faced a major disruption. The Writers Guild of America went on strike, and so did the Screen Actors Guild. This brought a stoppage for all major productions for several months. The Rey Skywalker movie was not an exception of this plan, but was still planned to shoot in September 2024. Wait, that was supposed to be like right now. However, the film was not immune to controversy, even earlier than the strikes. Another writer who was initially involved in the project was Damon Lindelof. You might know Damon Lindelof from some of his other pieces of work, such as the TV series Lost, Watchmen 2019, World War Z, and much more. Despite being a lifelong Star Wars fan, he was let go, as this was due to differences in opinions and creative decisions with Kathleen Kennedy in the studio. It was rumored that his script originally was set many years in the future, with Rey being an old woman and passing the torch to a new group of Jedi. But with Kathleen Kennedy wanting to bring back Daisy Ridley, his story needed to be reworked from the ground up, so eventually the writer parted ways with Lucasfilm. This was enough to make me wary of what direction the movie was going to take, but then the man who brought us Peaky Blinders, Stephen Knight, was assigned to do the writing. This was rather comforting for many fans. Knight has proven that he is capable of adapting multifaceted characters and layered plots. And to be honest, I love Peaky Blinders. It's definitely one of my favorite shows, but I have wondered how Stephen Knight would operate in the Lucasfilm system and handle the job while the upcoming Peaky Blinders movie is now filming. However, with the Rey film originally slated to be released later in December 2025, the release date was later shifted to May 2026. But now we don't even know that date with certainty nonetheless. And with this most recent news of problems behind the scenes, there's a good chance it'll never come to fruition, even with a new potential date of December 2026. So according to insiders, the new Rey movie has been hit with a big delay yet again, as the film still doesn't even have a finalized script. It's reported that Stephen Knight has had 4 drafts shot down by Kathleen Kennedy, and has received countless notes with every submission. According to John Roca, he's hearing that Stephen Knight is on the verge of leaving the project as well, citing that there has been too many notes and many creative differences with the studio. It's also worth adding that Knight is starting his own studio, and with the filming for the new Peaky Blinders movie, as I stated, it would be no surprise to me if he left the project. If he leaves, it would further cement the delays we've been hearing about and continue to highlight the major issues behind the scenes at Lucasfilm. But to be honest, I'm not surprised in the slightest. It's pretty obvious that Lucasfilm has had issues with the movie side of Star Wars for some time now. Say what you want about the sequel trilogy, but at the end of the day, they did more harm than good for the franchise. The fandom became more divided than ever, from destroying the original trilogy poster boy Luke Skywalker in Episode 8, to the narrative shotgun blast of The Rise of Skywalker, or a lack of a coherent vision surrounding the 3 films, there is much to complain about. This also dragged down the box office numbers for Solo, and as a result of the issues, the sequel trilogy box office numbers saw a downward trend from Episode 7 to 9. This ended with Episode 9 making half as much as Episode 7 at the box office, and Kathleen Kennedy pausing production on future films. But what really is worth adding is the issues these movies and the several once announced have in common behind-the-scenes production issues. The sequel trilogy had no cohesive vision, and was more so slapped together just to put their stamp on the Skywalker story. I could make many videos going over what went wrong and how those movies failed, but I'll save my breath. Solo also had its whole movie pretty much reshot and redone, and unfortunately was the last anthology movie we've seen. Rogue One, while also having major changes during its production, actually worked out, and to be honest, it's my favorite Star Wars movie under the Disney era. Thankfully, that one worked out. But since 2019, Lucasfilm has failed to get a movie off the ground. Let me remind you of the announcements of the Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadron movie, the Rian Johnson trilogy, the Taika Waititi film, and the several shows that are supposed to be in the works. All of these projects are still coming according to Kathleen Kennedy, but it looks like all of these are canceled. We keep hearing that these projects are in the works, but each side keeps saying it is the other side's busy schedules that are halting the said films. In other words, this is Lucasfilm's strategy as a way to go around saying they are canceled, which is why I have a feeling this Rey film will never come out. Where there is smoke, there's fire, and it seems that the Rey movie has a fire going on behind the scenes. That is just like the other failed announcements. To further add to my thoughts on this, I want to repeat that this potential movie is not one that I'm excited about. Part of me cannot believe this concept got greenlit, but another part of me expects nothing less from Lucasfilm at this point. But I still ask, why are they choosing to embrace a character that the wide audience did not align with? Rey and her story is not one I've been wanting to continue. Since the end of Episode 9, I've been quite happy with the idea of abandoning that story. I really do want to see where the new Jedi Order ends up, but maybe in the vast future or something like that. Now trust me, the general concept of Rey reforming the Jedi Order using the ancient Jedi texts she got from Luke is intriguing on some levels. This can allow us to explore more of the Jedi's knowledge of the Force and learn a lot about the Force from many different angles. Pair that with the future Dawn of the Jedi movie, I can see some connections being made that would be a nice way to connect the stories in this universe. Sadly though, I don't have confidence in Lucasfilm's ability to bring a good story to the silver screen. I don't think they truly understand the Force, the Jedi, and what made this franchise so great in the first place. Its delays show me that Lucasfilm doesn't seem to have the confidence in the story that they want to tell either, or that they still don't even truly know the story they want to tell. Delays in the entertainment industry are hardly a good thing. It usually points to many problems, and most of the time the end result is not a well-received movie. I mean, for f***'s sake, this movie still doesn't even have a final script yet, and the project was announced over a year ago. Even though I'm not the only one who says this, I'm very disappointed with the leadership of Kathleen Kennedy. I think as the head of Lucasfilm, she has done a horrible, awful job. From getting movies made, to even the PR and company culture she has fostered. She has crippled what was once the greatest IP in the world. It amazes me that she has been able to last this long in her position at Lucasfilm. She definitely doesn't understand the product she manages, and how to move it forward in any meaningful way. In professional sports, if the team isn't playing well, after a certain amount of time, you fire the coach. Even if they are seen as a good coach, you gotta change it up, because something is definitely not working. So the fact that Star Wars and even Lucasfilm's other franchises have been on a consistent downward spiral since 2014, it amazes me how she is still running the studio, somehow failing upwards for all these years. According to John Roca, his sources tell him that Kathleen pushed extremely hard for this Rey movie. She pushed for this movie and really wanted it to be the first release on the big screen since Episode 9. I believe that she's still the driving force to getting this movie made. A few months ago, it also came out that Kathleen Kennedy was waiting to go out on a high note. She wants to go out with a win before she retires, as she thinks this will be her legacy. It's no secret that the character Rey is what she wants her mark on the world to be. So much so that she was able to convince Daisy Ridley to come back without even having a script done. Convince her on an idea that there is this great story left to be told. But as you can tell by now, many see this as just another bad choice Kathleen Kennedy is making for the direction of the franchise. I think her best days as a producer are way far behind her. Honestly, these last few years are making me reconsider her whole role and influence in those great movies she was a part of in the first place. Again, so many failed projects. I'm sorry, I should say on hold projects under her leadership. A movie studio that can't even produce movies. A studio that overspends and underperforms. A studio that has issues with almost every creative that comes through their door. There used to be a time where a writer and a director would do anything to be working on Star Wars. But now, it's nothing more than a back burner project to many. Taika says he's too busy, and it's around 4 projects down for him. Rian Johnson says he's too busy with Knives Out movies, and Rogue Squadron is an idea that is just floating out there. We had a whole teaser and story from Patty Jenkins herself on this, and it still fell through the cracks. So while there are still the same issues that are plaguing the Rey movie, there is some hope for the direction of Lucasfilm. It's possible that these delays for the movie are also a sign of Disney pushing back on this Rey movie, them understanding that this is not good for the brand and this should not be a path to follow. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie is actually moving along nicely in production under Jon Favreau. This is now the movie slated to come out in May of 2026. We have had casting updates, principal photography, and many more updates when it comes to this film that was just announced in January of 2024. A lot more official attention from the studio has been given to this film, and maybe that's a sign things are changing behind the scenes at Lucasfilm. Maybe a new approach is on the horizon. We can only hope. All I know is the Rey movie delays most likely are leading to a cancellation. However, since this is a major goal for Kathy, there's a chance it does get made. And if that's the case, then I don't think it'll be very good. I really want to be hopeful for the franchise again. It truly is one of the most important things to me. There's so much more I want to cover on this channel, and I really want to start going into more lore and theories I have. I truly want this franchise to succeed, but at the moment, I'm cautious with my optimism. Well, that's all for today from your favorite galaxy far, far away. What did you think? Will the movie of Rey Skywalker come out in 2026, or will it take much longer? Do you think it'll never see the light of day? Only time will tell. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'm curious what you all think. Do you want more news on this channel? More of my thoughts? If you liked the video, please remember to like and subscribe. Until next time, may the Force be with you always.